Hi everybody, this is Jack R. and I'm wishing you a happy Thanksgiving. For those of you that celebrating Thanksgiving, it's coming right up, and I understand some of you are interested in some of my old stories uh, that relate to cars, and I thought I'd tell you my first experience with buying a car. It was 1962 or beginning of 63, and I was in the reserve and needed a way to get to my meetings. And so I looked in the classified section of the local paper, and this is in the middle of winter, so sometime between November and January. And well, what popped up in mind was a neighboring town. There was a guy who had two cars for sale. One was a 1950 Dodge Coronet, and the other was a 1949, I believe, Chevy two-door coupe. And so I went over to see these cars, and very naive, I must say, back in these days about automotive things. And and I went, and it was a private home, and neither car was at the establishment, so they were at a service station. And right off, the guy told me that the problem with the 49 Chevy is it had a cracked block. So evidently, at some point, there wasn't enough antifreeze in the coolant, and it froze the block. So crossed that off immediately, and maybe I should have not crossed it off and thought about some other things. But anyhow, I decided on the Dodge. And so yes, we took a trip to the local gas station, and I should have known that he had to call the gas station so that they could start it up. Um, so that might have been a little ominous. It should have started right up when I arrived at the gas station, but no, he had to prepare it. Well, we decided on the Dodge, and actually, the body and the interior were in excellent condition. A little problem with the hood. It didn't have a hood ornament anymore, and a little patchwork had been done there, but otherwise the body was in excellent shape, no rust that I could see. It was a dark blue color, and it was a coupe. So, got uh, the engine sounded okay. I got it started, and I decided to go ahead with it. Got it home, and I found out the reason why it had been in the gas station. Turns out the generator wasn't generating, so I had to go to a parts store and get a new generator for it. And I'm telling you that, and I did this while the car was still at the gas station. So here I was, and it was the middle of winter, so it was cold, snowy, ice under the car, and I'm under the car putting the new generator on. So we got that okay, that worked. Got it home, and turns out that it didn't have much tread on those back tires. So one of our little trips, my folks are in the back of the car, and I'm driving along, and the it had snowed and the roads were plowed, but there was ice various places, and the car you couldn't see exactly where the margin of the road was, so it was easy to slip off the edge of the road and into the snow and ice area without realizing it. So, wouldn't you know, I did slip off the road, and as with many new drivers, I overcorrected. So instead of just getting back on the road, I did a 90-degree turn and went off the other side of the road into what was a kind of hilly area that was covered with snow. And the car, I was going slow, so the car didn't really have any damage at all. I mean, the front bumper guard was, I think, scraped a little bit, but otherwise, it was like a tank, no damage. Inside, my folks were okay. They didn't suffer any damage. My father, I think, had his rib got bruised a little bit by and we came to a sudden stop. But it was nothing that required any kind of medical attention, so that was good. Although I was sorry that he hurt his rib. But anyhow, I think it scared them. This car, it's kind of scared me too. And so I continued with this car for a while, and for a few months. And then I found out that it had a problem. And the problem, when I took it to the Chrysler Dodge dealer, turns out that it had a problem with one of the pistons. It had engine bearing problems, and so they also had a fluid coupling, and that needed a replacement. So yeah, the repairs would have been more than the car was worth. So at that point, I decided to trade it. And so I traded on a brand new '63 Dodge Dart, and so that was a brand new one, so it didn't give any problems. So, except, that's another story, the windshield wipers just gave up for no apparent reason. They're electric, and so they switched out the motor on that, and so that was the end of that problem. So that was my story of my first car. And so along with this Thanksgiving, Mark is out there in the kitchen assembling something for work. They're having a little party. So, Mark?
Yes.
Can you come in here for a second? He's doing kitchen duties. And here he is. Oh, and there he is. And that's, what is that?
Mango.
Mango. They didn't really see you, Mark. Get back in. There you go. There he is. All right. So Mark and the mangoes. So.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Huh?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, and you heard it from Mark, and you hear it from me too. So thanks. Goodbye, all.